Hello and welcome to WJTS-Inform as we meet candidates running for office in the state of Indiana and also the nation, as well as folks who are running locally. Well, this is somebody who's running for a state office, currently holds a state office, but is running for a different state office. Please welcome to the studio Mark Messmer. Actually, state representative right now, Mark Messmer, but that can change soon.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Mark, welcome to the show.
Yep, good to be here.
Well, let's find out a little bit of background on you, Mark.
Okay.
You're not a stranger to WJTS audience, but let's find out
I
about
understand. Don't want to skip something that somebody might not know.
Right, right.
Well, currently I'm a state representative for District 63, and that covers the north half of Du Bois County, the north half of Pike County, the south half of Martin County, and most of Davis County. Okay. Currently I am and will continue to be co-owner of Messmer Mechanical in Jasper, married to Kim for 29 years. We have 4 kids and ages 18 to 26. Last child is now in college, so a little change of pace at home this year. We haven't noticed much of a slowdown yet, but give it a few weeks and then it'll sink in. We go to Holy Family Church at Jasper. My wife and I are co-chairs of the picnic out there. Been a scout leader out there for over 20 years. Been involved in the music ministry program out there for about 18 years, and I've had a variety of committees that we've been involved with over the last 25 years. So figured might want to cover, for folks who don't know, the makeup of the new Senate district that I'm going to be running for. And in Du Bois County, that covers Bainbridge Township, Boone Township, Madison Township, Patoka, and Cass. Okay. Basically Huntingburg, Jasper, Holland, Ireland, everything west. A little different. They split them up more or less by school districts. I think this Senate district would be primarily southwest Du Bois and Jasper school districts, where the House district is Jasper and northeast Du Bois in it. So, but they try to split them up by school corporation boundaries when they can.
And you are running for State Senate District 48, which correct. Is those parts of Du Bois County and also Spencer.
All of Spencer County, all of Pike County.
Okay.
It's nice to have all of a county.
That's right.
And then in Warwick County, it's got basically along State Road 61 from the Alcoa plant to Booneville to Linville and everything to the east. And then in Gibson County, it covers from about the Toyota plant and everything north, and then all the way through Vincennes. So South Knox and Vincennes areas in Knox County.
Okay. Now, you've been a very successful state representative, well known, do a lot of good work. Why are you running for Senate and not for state rep again?
Well, the primary reason, the state rep races are 2-year cycles and the Senate races are 4-year cycles. So that alone would be enough of an incentive to be interested in the Senate districts versus House districts. And it's a larger area. You have a larger, obviously if there's half as many senators as state reps, you have twice the area of responsibility. I've looked at constituent services as really one of my key focuses as a state rep. To really dive in and help folks with when they're having issues, battling state government. I look at my job as I'm their representative in going to battle to do battle with the state. I don't look at it as I'm the state's representative to them. I look at the focus is really I'm there to serve my district and my constituents and help them when they need help in dealing with any state agency. So twice the sphere of influence on that as well. So.
As we go into this election, you have been endorsed by many significant endorsers.
Yep. Issues that I think are key to Southwest Indiana. I'm a lifetime member of the NRA and have their endorsement. The Indiana Right to Life. Those are 2 pretty important issues to Southwest Indiana. I've got a 100% voting record with both of those groups during my 6 years in the House. Also, along that line, the Indiana Family Action PAC, who's connected to Focus on the Family from out in Colorado. They're kind of a nationwide organization. The Indiana Family Action PAC is their Indiana affiliate of that. Really look at family values issues and have a strong track record with them. Also getting support from the Indiana Coal Council. They don't officially do endorsements, but they're strongly backing my race for being a very proactive supporter of the coal industry in the state. And for Southwest Indiana, that's pretty important. Endorsed by Indiana Farm Bureau, and I've really been I did not get their endorsement in 2008, but I've had it in 2010, 12, and 14. and have worked hand in hand, a strong supporter of the Indiana agriculture industry, and that's an ongoing battle to try to keep the Indiana agriculture, which in Southwest Indiana here, that's a large portion of our economy, and been a strong supporter of them. Also endorsed by the Indiana Manufacturers Association, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, which is more a small business group of business owners, and the Indiana Chamber of Commerce, and the Indiana State Building Trades Council. So I've got a good mix of pro-construction, the construction industry, the manufacturers chamber, all the business groups, and then with the Farm Bureau, the Right to Life, NRA. I mean, those are really key indicators of things that are important to jobs growth and family values and good conservative issues.
Well, Mark, as a state representative, you've really done a fine job, and you have received many accolades for that. Can you tell us some of the awards, I guess, or recognition you've gotten as a state rep?
Well, I did get the Indiana Legislator of the Year recognition for the 2013 session year that was awarded this year from the Indiana Bankers Association and from the Sportsmen's and Animal Owners Voting Alliance. They're more, I guess they'd be tied in more closely with Farm Bureau and their issues, and the NRA, kind of a mix of those two. They're a nationwide group that recognizes support of issues dealing with hunting and hunting rights and sportsmen's issues, and then the animal industry and animal owners. So kind of a merge of NRA and Farm Bureau that they watch candidates and legislators across the country. So Legislator of the Year from those two groups, and then also for the 2013 session this year I received the Defender of Liberty recognition from the American Conservative Union. It's a nonpartisan group. But they look at your voting record on issues: are you defending the taxpayer, or are you defending good conservative fiscal policy? And I had a 100% voting record in the 2013 session, one of only 4 legislators to get that, and received the Defender of Liberty recognition from them. And all 6 years I've been in office, there's a group called Watchdog Indiana that looks at, are the issues you're voting for pro-taxpayer or anti-taxpayer? And I've gotten the designation of being taxpayer-friendly by Watchdog Indiana all 6 years I've been in office. So really focused more on defending the folks back home than special interest groups, and those two designations are significant along that line.
Now, you've gotten a lot of these endorsements and accolades because of the work that you've done. What are some of your successes from being a state representative that you've authored?
Well, there's some issues that I consider, key legislative successes. My first couple years being in the minority, it was you couldn't really be author, but I was co-author of several issues. A lot of them dealt with the charity gaming issues that were happening at the time, and that was a pretty hot topic my first couple years. But I co-authored a couple bills that really backed off the severity of regulation, and really I called it onerous oversight by the Gaming Commission on folks that wanted to do charity gaming venues in the area and across the state. And there's like 60,000 nonprofit charitable gaming groups across the state, and they had really they took a casino type oversight and started applying it to charity gaming operators, and really became
like church
too much.
Picnics.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we got them to back off on a lot of those, and really, worked with the Gaming Commission to make sure they understood the problems of their rules that they had created, and got them to agree, and rewrote a lot of the laws dealing with that. Then in 2011, I authored House Bill 1007, which is a significant issue dealing with local economic development incentives. The abatement, they can take abatements and have total flexibility on how to apply those. Before, there were some pretty strict cookbook rules they had to follow, but was really kind of prohibitive on utilization of abatement incentive programs, and got it to be very flexible, and allows counties and cities to tailor those incentives, how they want to use them, and allows rebating of local option income taxes along the lines that the Indiana Economic Development Corporation has what they called EDGE tax credit programs that are available on the state income taxes, but allows them, if they want to, on local county option income taxes to apply, rebating programs on jobs creation incentives as well. Also had a couple of pro-defense industry bills that I sponsored. They were Senate bills that I was the sponsor of in the House. One set up the Office of Defense Development, and one was allows local units of government to either invest in old defense industry sites and use that federal property to invest local economic development tools on those, or to be proactive in supporting, I guess what they call the BRAC, the Base Realignment Commission, that's probably going to come out again in a year or two when the federal government gets around to reevaluating base consolidation. It allows local units of government to invest in advertising and be proactive in supporting those current defense facilities against potential closure by the federal government. So those were two pretty significant pro-defense industry bills that I authored this past session. And then just a myriad, one that I was co-author on was the elimination of the inheritance tax, which was very punitive to the small farmer, the small family farm, the small business owner were the people who usually got hammered by that, because the way the tax treatment was on inheritance taxes at the state level, the threshold was so low that most of the time people end up having to sell the small family farm or small business, because they couldn't afford to pay the inheritance taxes. There wasn't a lot of cash, but there was a lot of ground, or physical assets. So those were pretty key. That were successes that I looked at, and many of the bills that I sponsored or co-sponsored or authored or co-authored, but those were probably some of the more prominent ones.
Well, now we're going to be moving into a different house, I guess, the Senate. And what are things that you think will be coming up in 2015? Issues that you'll be involved with?
Obviously, the biggest item, it's going to be a budget year. 2015 will be the next biennial budget. And the biggest issues on the table, the lion's share of our spending is education and roads, and be looking for ways to continue to bolster, get more money to the K through 12 education. We did $390 million increase the last budget cycle. We need to continue to step that up, for K through 12 education, and for local road funding. We increased all local road maintenance, whether it's county, city. Or for the state, the maintenance funds, we increased by 35% the last budget cycle. We need to maintain that increase that we put in place, plus try to step it up a little bit more. And so those will be the two key budget issues. There will be hundreds of other details, but those will be the most significant because they probably consume about 75% of the budget between road funding and education. Other issues that we're going to, that I'll be working on is some economic development issues. An issue I've been working on the last couple of years is trying to increase support and give some flexibility to the local farm wineries, either the ability to self-distribute or direct ship. Those are issues that they need some help on those issues. They're kind of stuck, in a very slow growth pattern right now with changes that were implemented in 2006 and. Not that the legislature ever has knee-jerk reactions to issues that pop up, but they went from unlimited ability on those two areas to on direct sales to local retailers and restaurants. They went from 100% of their product to zero, which was
pretty big.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
And then they severely limited the amount that they can ship via UPS to existing customers. So try to push those out a little bit, and then. An economic development bill that I filed last session, being that it wasn't a budget session, they didn't want to move it, was sales tax exemption on data warehouses. Those are the large $100 million plus, a lot of times in the area of $1 billion investment in off-site data storage. That's become, the cloud. That type of data storage projects are becoming, very prominent. And we don't charge sales tax on manufacturing equipment. Well, these industries, what they manufacture is data. And if we sales tax their equipment, we're not competitive. We'll never land one of those investments in Indiana as long as we charge sales tax on a $1 billion equipment sale. That's tens of millions of dollars. So people say, well, we can't afford to lose that revenue. Well, 7% is zero. By my math, is zero. So if we exempt the sales tax, you'll get the real property investment. You'll get the income taxes from the folks that manage those sites. There'll be other significant advantages to the state, but we've got to put ourselves on a level playing field with other states on that issue.
Okay, now you're running for Senate, the state Senate, which is different from state rep. We don't want people to get confused because I mean, people see you a lot. Now they know that you're running for the Senate. At this time, if there's anything that you'd like to add.
Well, I feel my experience as a state representative, the relationships I've built in the House and the Senate over that 6-year time, my experience as a small business owner, as a community leader, in my 20-plus years of being an adult living and working in the community have prepared me extremely well to serve the folks of District 48 very effectively in the state Senate, and I would appreciate their support.
Okay, well, Mark, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Our guest has been Mark Messmer, current state representative, running for State Senate District 48. Thank you for coming in, Mark, and thank you for watching WJTS Inform. Remember, you can be voting right now all the way up through Election Day, November 4th. We are local people watching local people, WJTS TV.